Good morning, everybody. I have 3 points to make to begin. Number one, as I have said on numerous occasions, there is a successful format for budget making over the last 2 years. We've done it 7 times. If we follow the format that's been followed on the previous 7 successful budget makings, it can be done again. Number 2, on availability for meetings, I advise the governor I'm not available tomorrow. I'm not available on the following Monday. I am available over Saturday and Sunday. And 3, I told the governor, and I'll tell you, I did not suggest a stopgap budget. The idea of a stopgap budget originated with the governor or his people. Questions?
I feel like I'm in a really bad time for it. Is there anything new to add to this situation? I feel like I've seen this story for the last few years.
I think the most important thing to understand is that there is a format that's been followed here over 2 years. 7 budget makings. It works. If it's followed again, there can be another budget making.
I mean, like I said, I heard this yesterday. I heard this Tuesday if I rewind. Is there, if he's willing to give you some of the tax things that you're looking for?
Are there any other questions?
When you talk about the previous formats that have been used, those were all stopgap budgets. Are you talking
Well,
about...
excuse me.
Yeah.
No. Don't use the word stopgap budget. The first time that stopgap budget was used was by Governor Rauner at the end of May when he requested a stopgap budget. The word stopgap was never used in the prior 6 budget makings.
So are you suggesting a spending plan that without reforms?
I'm suggesting a budget. Governor requested that I come here to meet with him to talk about budget making. That's why I'm here. There was very little discussion about budget making today.
So what was the discussion about then?
A variety of items, but Mr. Harris can speak to all of that.
Was the Exxon bill among those items? And if so,
No.
the governor's administration has accused
No.
you of trying to scuttle that deal at the last minute.
The governor's administration says a lot of things, and you people seem to eat it right up, so good luck to you.
Speaker,
What else have you got?
I was going to ask you about that bill, though, just in general.
It'll
what are
be
your
called
thoughts about
shortly.
it?
It'll be called shortly.
Do you think it's a good bill that should move forward, or do
I
you have
don't
concerns?
plan to express an opinion on the bill.
Speaker,
Do you plan to vote on it?
The governor had a Facebook message this morning.
Excuse me. Any other questions?
Do you plan to vote on that Exelon
Well, when the bill is called, when I've had an opportunity to understand the bill, I'll decide how I
Can
plan to vote.
anybody understand a bill that massive in this short amount of time?
Mr. Harris, you're up.
So, again, I would join with the Speaker in saying we need to find a real budget solution, that the stopgap is not what our caucus really wants to negotiate, and we want to give some certainty to the folks who depend on the state of Illinois. We need to give some certainty to the business people of Illinois that this crisis is being resolved. And the question was asked about, I think Mr. Cross asked the question about different budgets that have been worked on. And there were a number of things that the 4 caucuses got together with the governor's office and worked on in the past year. We did what some people refer to as the FY15 fix together. It was mutually negotiated. Everyone sat down. We all worked together. We made sure that the other state funds were appropriated. We made sure that federal funds were appropriated and flowing through. We made sure that there were money for ongoing capital projects so that the work of road builders and workers across the state can continue throughout the summer without throwing off projects. All of these were done in a bipartisan, bicameral way with members from all over the state representing all the different interests of the state, Chicago, the suburbs, central Illinois, southern Illinois, sitting down in a room and hashing out together a solution that works for us all, led by the governor's budget director, Tim Newting. And I think that's a good format to address issues. And that has worked before on these other budget matters. I hope it can work again, solving the issue we face now.
So if not the budget, what was discussed during that meeting?
The governor came back to 2 of his issues regarding local property taxes, not anything regarding the state, and term limits.
Are those non-starters for the Democrats in the House?
He gave us some legislation. I think the president of the Senate, said that it would be very difficult. He said in the meeting that he thought it would be very difficult for his members on some of those things. But you look at where property taxes go. If you limit property taxes, you're talking about cuts to school funding in school districts all across the state of Illinois. And if the state of Illinois has not provided adequate state resources for local schools, this is a formula for declining public education. And I think that, for our caucus, the House Democrats, being sure that quality public education is available throughout the state is really key.
Well, Mr. Harris, that's the kind of thing that the governor put on the internet this morning about a property tax freeze, et cetera. I mean, you're negotiating back there behind closed doors. Does the governor take him to the internet with some of his points? Does that help?
Did that come up yesterday too? Can you clarify? The governor's office says they talked about that yesterday in the meeting. Just wanting to get both sides there.
These are elements, property tax freeze, term limits that he brings up, and the speaker has said each time we should be talking about the budget. That is the number one issue that's confronting us, resolving the budget issue. We have a new pension overhang that we need to solve. We have a education task force that is looking at rewriting a formula and providing more money to our public schools, and that's going to have a budgetary impact. We need to get all those details out on the table and come to an agreement on those impacts.
So are we really any closer to any kind of budget agreement now than we were several weeks ago?
If we would sat down and talked about the budget and started to go through the numbers, which I think is what the speaker said is our priority, we could begin to make progress on that.
So that's a no.
Okay, thank you.
Wait, to Dave's point, could you address that? So, do Facebook ultimatums help or hurt?
You can talk.
I have my own Facebook page where I stick with different topics.